Nightline begins now with me, Sabrina Zainal. The top stories. Queen Elizabeth II under medical supervision amid health concerns. And Bank Negara raises OPR by 25 basis points. Good morning. Fears grew in the UK on Thursday for Queen Elizabeth II after Buckingham Palace said her doctors were concerned for her health and recommended that she remain under medical supervision. In a statement, the palace said currently the Queen remains comfortable at Balmoral, and immediate family members have been informed and are either with her or are on their way to Scotland for the Queen's royal residence. The heir to the throne, the Prince of Wales, is already with the Queen, having travelled by helicopter, as his sister, Princess Anne, who was already in Scotland for official engagements. The palace statement about the Queen's health is highly unusual and comes after she has looked visibly frailer in recent months and a succession of withdrawals from public engagements. On Wednesday, she pulled out of a planned meeting with her senior political advisors after being told to rest. The 96-year-old head of state, Britain's longest-serving monarch, has been dogged by health problems since last October that have left her with difficulties walking and standing. Now back home, Bank Negara Malaysia has raised the overnight policy rate OPR on Thursday for the third time in a row by 25 basis points to 2.5%. The central bank had delivered a back-to-back rate hike for the first time since 2010, raising the OPR by 25 basis points in May, July and on Thursday. The ceiling and floor rates of the corridor of the OPR are correspondingly increased to 2.75% and 2.25% respectively. At the current OPR level, the stance of monetary policy continues to remain accommodative and supportive of economic growth. Going forward, the central bank said indicators point to continued growth underpinned by support from private sector spending, while labor market conditions and income prospects remain positive. Investment activity and prospects would also be supported by the realization of multi-year projects. Meanwhile, the ringgit ended marginally higher against the US dollar on Thursday after Bank Negara Malaysia increased the overnight policy rate. At 6 p.m., the local currency rose to 4.5010 against the greenback from Wednesday's close of 4.5020. Putra Business School economics analyst Ahmed Razman Abdul Latif said he expected the ringgit's weakness to continue despite the OPR hike. He said the ringgit will likely continue to weaken due to the declining oil prices, including that of crude palm oil, which makes a sizable contribution to the Malaysian economy. The ringgit was traded lower against a basket of major currencies. Now, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission is close to wrapping up its investigations of several high-profile individuals alleged to be on the take in a bookkeeping ledger linked to an ongoing corruption trial involving UMNO's Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Its Chief Commissioner, Tan Sri Azam Baki, said almost all of those named in the ledger kept by Ultra Kirana Sendirian Berhad, UKSB, have been called up.
Kita telah memanggil hampir kesemua penama-penama yang disebutkan dalam ledger itu, dan saya jangka mungkin dalam tempoh terdekat ini mungkin akan disiapkan oleh pegawai-pegawai penyiasat saya lah.
Tan Sri Azam Baki said once the investigation is completed, it will be submitted to the Attorney General's chambers to be studied and for a decision to be made. The names of several politicians were mentioned in Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's corruption trial, but they have since denied receiving money from the company. The UKSB ledger, also known as Buku 35, was tendered at the trial and contained records of payments made by the company to several high-profile individuals between 2014 and 2018. On July 25th, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, said all those mentioned in the ledger kept by UKSB would be called up for investigations by the MACC.
In the meantime, Tan Sri Azam said the MACC needs more time for its investigation into the troubled 9 billion ringgit littoral combat ship LCS scandal. This is as the anti-graft agency needed some time to summon more witnesses, including a few who were overseas.
LCS kita masih lagi menjalankan siasatan dan banyak perkara lagi yang kita perlu siasat. Dalam hal penyiasatan ini, tuan-tuan dan puan semua, saya ingin membawa semua untuk memahami bahawa perkara-perkara berkaitan tabik urus dengan kriminaliti adalah dua perkara yang berbeza. Sebab itu, yang mungkin banyak pihak mengemukakan isu-isu kepada pihak media tentang isu-isu tabik urus itu mungkin diambil daripada laporan forensik audit. Namun demikian, pihak kami menyiasat bukan itu saja, kita menyiasat lebih lanjut lagi daripada itu untuk melihat kriminal jenayah yang berlaku oleh mana-mana pihak.
When asked if MACC will call Special Functions Minister Dato' Abdul Latif Ahmad to give his statement over his alleged links to the project, Tan Sri Azam said the matter was still being looked into. Previously, PKR Deputy President Rafizi Ramli had linked Dato' Abdul Latif to the scandal, alleging that the Mersing MP's wife had ties with the project. Separately, Tan Sri Azam on Thursday clarified that the investigation paper involving Court of Appeal Judge Datuk Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali had actually been presented to the AGC and had been sent back to the MACC. He said it is the norm for investigation papers to travel between the MACC and the AGC, and currently the agency is waiting for further instructions before making a decision. Judge Datuk Muhammad Nazlan was the judge who convicted former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak over the misappropriation of 42 million ringgit of SRC International Sendirian Berhad funds.
Malaysia has no need for a deputy prime minister at the moment. In reiterating the matter, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob on Wednesday said the current position of 4 senior ministers collectively represented the role of a deputy prime minister.
Saya pun dah perjelaskan kepada wakil daripada Perikatan Nasional, iaitu 2 orang, Setiausaha Agong dan juga Bendahari Perikatan Nasional sewaktu berjumpa dengan saya. Saya selaku Perdana Menteri lebih menumpukan fokus untuk memulihkan ekonomi dan untuk menyelesaikan isu-isu yang berkaitan dengan rakyat.
The 4 senior ministers in Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri's cabinet are Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali, Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein, Datuk Dr. Radzi Majidin and Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof. Previously, PAS Secretary General Datuk Sri Taqiyuddin Hassan admitted that he had drafted a memorandum of agreement related to the post of the Deputy Prime Minister, and PN Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin had noted on the existence of the agreement. This was followed by a statement by Datuk Dr. Marzuki Muhammad, the former Principal Private Secretary to Tan Sri Muhyiddin, who confirmed that he had witnessed the agreement purportedly made with Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri to appoint a Deputy Prime Minister. On another matter, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri on Thursday stressed that any negotiations involving UMNO will only be considered valid when they are decided by the party leadership. The UMNO Vice President said any negotiations should also be carried out in accordance with the party's policy.
Kalau dalam gelap, tak tahulah kita kan. Kalau rundingan, mestilah secara terang. Ya. Dan setiap rundingan pun perlu diputuskan oleh parti. Ya. Apapun rundingan yang nak dijalankan, mesti secara rasmi dan diputuskan oleh UMNO sendiri. Ya. Kalau rundingan lain tu, mungkin pertemuan-pertemuan tu, dianggap tidak rasmi, tidak akan menjadi keputusan kepada UMNO. Ya.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this when asked about a claim by PAS spiritual leader Datuk Hashim Jassin of a secret talk between the two parties. Meanwhile, on PAS's proposal to hold negotiations over the 27 critical parliamentary seats in GE15, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the proposal could be brought to the UMNO Supreme Council meeting to be discussed. Meanwhile, Perikatan Nasional PN explained that there is no official negotiations between PAS and UMNO to face GE15. Its chairman, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, said the negotiations with UMNO were informal and did not involve the party leadership. In a statement issued on Thursday, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said there has been no progress from the negotiations as UMNO has already made it clear that they do not want to work with PAS at GE15. He also said that PAS has reiterated its stand of improving ties with parties within PN.
Increased market demand for factory and commercial development in Malaysia. Keeping up with the latest innovation in the development and construction industry. How will property developers take advantage of higher e-commerce penetration rates? And the crucial factors in attracting investors to set up their businesses in Malaysia. Money Matters speaks with Klang Group Holdings Sdn Bhd this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3.
Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria on Thursday wished the Malayali community in Malaysia a happy Onam. Onam is the harvest festival of the Malayali community when it falls during the first month of the Malayalam calendar known as Chingam, which is in August to September. The festival, which is traditionally celebrated by the people of Kerala, which is in the southern part of India, is to welcome the legendary emperor Bali Chakravarti or Mahabali, who it is believed will bring about a bountiful harvest. Any issues related to halal guarantee is important to be addressed in efforts to promote the halal industry. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this is because it risks damaging the image of the halal industry that has been worked on over the years.
Kini lebih 8,000 syarikat di Malaysia diiktiraf halal, di mana lebih 20% daripadanya adalah syarikat pengekspor. JAKIM turut bekerjasama dengan Badan Pensijilan Halal dari pelbagai negara untuk keseragaman piayawan dalam pematuhan kepada undang-undang syariah.
Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said this when officiating the 18th Malaysia International Halal Showcase, MIHAS, in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. He added that to facilitate the growth of Malaysia's halal industry, Halal Malaysia Industrial Parks, one of the world's largest halal hubs, was established to provide world-class facilities, a skilled workforce, and ease of doing business, among other things. It covers an area of 200,000 acres in 14 strategic halal parks that have received Halal Malaysia status from Halal Development Corporation. He pointed out that halal parks have attracted a cumulative investment of more than 16 billion ringgit, of which 9.5 billion ringgit, or 59% of this amount, are foreign direct investments. A total of 295 companies, including 42 multinational companies, are currently operating in 22 halal parks throughout Malaysia.
The flu, or influenza, is a respiratory disease that can hit senior citizens hard and fast, which may trigger other health complications such as a heart attack or a stroke. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, up to 70% of hospitalizations and 85% of deaths which were recorded related to the flu occur in those aged 65 or older.
First Deputy Health Minister Datuk Dr. Noor Azmi Ghazali said the flu can be problematic to senior citizens with pre-existing chronic health conditions as their immune system tends to weaken and the lung function also declines as they age. Hence, they have been urged to protect themselves by getting influenza vaccines every year.
WHO telah nasihat kita dan pengalaman luar negara pun sebenarnya vaksin ini dapat mengurangkan keseriusan, keterukan penyakit. Ini dibuktikan dalam COVID sebenarnya. Kalau kita dapat lihat, saya dulu ada tunjuk data semasa dalam interview di TV yang menunjukkan apabila kes tengah tinggi dan kita memulakan vaksinasi kanak-kanak, kes rendah, turun rendah. Jadi kes kurang, kes tidak teruk, ini penting. Kita mementingkan kesihatan primer. Maknanya kita memusatkan kepada pencegahan. Pencegahan lebih baik daripada merawat. Kita ada kepakaran kita untuk merawat, tapi pencegah lebih baik.
He was met after officiating the Preventing the Flu at 65 and Beyond campaign organized by the Immunize for Life program, IFL, in Petaling Jaya on Wednesday. According to the IFL Technical Committee Chairman, Professor Datuk Dr. Zulkifli Ismail, with annual vaccinations, the risk of flu-related hospitalizations and deaths can be reduced by over 40%.
Bila kena jangkitan tu, dan kita kena lagi teruk daripada orang yang tak diberi vaccination tu. Dan kalau orang dewasa tu ataupun warga emas tu ada penyakit diabetes ke ataupun penyakit jantung ke, ni akan membuatkan dia lebih teruk lagi dan susah kita nak kontrol dia punya diabetes tu. Tu yang efek dia kepada warga emas ya.
For more information on the campaign, visit the website as shown on screen.
Thai court asks for more evidence in PM suspension case. News from the foreign front when we return. Staying with us. New UK Prime Minister Liz Truss on Thursday announced the freezing of domestic fuel bills for 2 years, marking her first week in office with a costly plan to tackle a politically perilous cost of living crisis. She said energy bills for an average British household would be capped at $2,872 a year, a $1,155 less than October's planned level. The new leader also announced an end to a ban on fracking, a controversial method to drill for fossil fuels, claiming that the ban lifting could get gas flowing in as soon as 6 months. The government, she said, would also review progress towards its legally enshrined target to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050 in order to ensure the needs of consumers and businesses are taken into account, while stressing it remained committed to the goal. Thailand's Constitutional Court on Thursday has asked for more evidence as it considers whether to terminate suspended Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha's term in office. The court said it required more information and reports from the official group that drafted the constitution. The court previously suspended the Prime Minister as it weighs a case brought by opposition parties, arguing he had reached the end of his 8-year term limit and must step down. Under Thailand's 2017 constitution, no prime minister may serve more than 8 years in office, but when Prayut's term began is the subject of dispute. Supporters of the 68-year-old leader argued that the clock on his term began when the 2017 constitution came into law, or even after the 2019 general election. If the court agrees, Prayut could technically continue to serve until 2025 or 2027 if he wins a general election due by March. The court's next hearing will be on September 14th. Over in the United States, a man killed at least 4 people and wounded 3 others in an hours-long shooting rampage across Memphis on Wednesday before a high-speed chase that ended with his arrest. Authorities said the suspect, identified as 19-year-old Ezekiel Kelly, was apprehended with 2 weapons in his vehicle at approximately 9 p.m. local time on Thursday. Kelly is alleged to have killed his first victim just after midnight on Wednesday and gone on a shooting spree across the Tennessee city in the afternoon and early evening. It was reported that there were at least 8 different crime scenes, including carjackings and a shooting at a local store, and Kelly had live-streamed parts of his spree, prompting authorities to issue a shelter-in-place order while the shootings were ongoing, effectively locking down parts of the city. The U.S. regularly sees mass shootings and other gun violence, as 490 people have been killed in mass shootings and mass murders in the country this year alone. Another Palestinian has been killed in occupied West Bank city of Ramallah on Thursday as Israeli forces continue to ramp up their violence against the Palestinians. The Palestinian Health Ministry identified the victim as 17-year-old Haitham Hani Mubarak, saying he was shot dead by the Zionist regime just after midnight near the Israeli military DCO checkpoint. The Palestinian youth is the latest to have been killed by the Israeli army in the West Bank, with the forces conducting near-daily raids on Palestinian towns and cities. As per the Palestinian Health Ministry, Israeli forces have killed more than 140 Palestinians in the occupied territory so far in 2022, including 49 people killed during Israel's recent three-day offensive on the Gaza Strip. Action from the tennis U.S. Open. Sports coming up next. Carlos Alcaraz of Spain and Poland's Iga Świątek continue their U.S. Open run after wins over Jannik Sinner and Jessica Pegula, respectively, on Wednesday.
Alcaraz had to come from a set down to beat Sinner in a 5-set thriller, with the contest setting a new record as the latest ever finish at the U.S. Open, finishing at 2:50 a.m. on Thursday. The previous record was set at 2:26 a.m. The 6-3, 6-7, 6-7, 7-5, 6-3 win in the 5-hour and 15-minute contest keeps alive Alcaraz's hopes of winning a maiden Grand Slam title and claiming the world #1 ranking. Alcaraz plays American Frances Tiafoe on Friday for a spot in Sunday's final. Meanwhile, world number 1 Iga Swiatek beat American Jessica Pegula 6-3, 7-6 on Wednesday to reach the semi-finals of the US Open for the first time. The top-seeded French Open champion dropped her racket and pumped her fist after the win, which guaranteed that she will remain the world's top player when the tournament ends. Despite the victory, the Pole is still trying to regain her dominant form from earlier in the year when she went on a 37-match winning streak. The 21-year-old twice failed to serve out the match in the second set and was broken 6 times by the 8th-seeded Pegula. Swiatek will meet Aryna Sabalenka in the semi-finals.
Up next, trio charged with duping man in work permit scam. Court of Appeal Judge Datuk Wazir Alam Maidan Mira has recused himself from hearing Datuk Sri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim's appeal against the Pulau Pinang High Court's ruling over the dismissal of his suit against Lim Guan Eng in connection with the construction of the State Undersea Tunnel project. Judge Datuk Wazir Alam, who chaired a 3-member bench, said he decided to recuse himself from hearing the appeal as he had some connection with the parties involved when he was in practice.
Thus, Judge Datuk Wazir Alam with 2 other judges, Datuk Hadaria Said Ismail and Datuk Sri Mariana Yahya, adjourned the hearing to another date which will be fixed by the registrar. Datuk Sri Abdul Aziz filed the suit in March 2018, claiming that Lim, who was the then finance minister, had issued defamatory statements during a press conference at the Pulau Pinang Chief Minister's office on February 28, 2018, and during a Chinese New Year open house hosted by the State Development Corporation on the same day, connecting him with a payment of 3 million ringgit in consultation fee. He claimed the statements gained widespread coverage and were published on numerous websites, thus seeking general and exemplary damages and other relief deemed fit by the court. He also applied for an injunction to prevent the defendant from republishing the statements.
In Johor, 3 men were charged at the Johor Bahru Magistrates Court on Thursday for duping another individual out of 192,000 ringgit by offering foreign worker permit services. The accused Tan Tek Lok, Shah Afendi Wahyu and S. Silaturai, aged between 40 and 59, claimed trial after the charge was read out to them before Magistrate Muhammad Zul Helmi Ibrahim.
The trio were charged for allegedly deceiving 31-year-old Lim Zen Peng into believing that they would be able to help him obtain 32 visas and visa with reference from the Immigration Department. The 3 were accused of duping the victim into paying them 192,000 ringgit in stages into Tan's bank account for their alleged services. The offence was allegedly committed from August 7th to August 27th, 2019 in Skudai, Johor. The charge under the Penal Code carries a jail term of up to 10 years and whipping and a possible fine upon conviction. The court set bail at 6,000 ringgit with 1 surety for each of the trio and fixed October 10th for mention and submission of documents.
As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at the National Museum of Ceramics González Martí in Valencia present the exhibition Infinite Journey, evoking the first circumnavigation of the world by Magellan and Elcano. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, Malaysia.